thanks for coming out to Mobile Monday Toronto at Mars. It's been a few months since we've had an event, and there's a lot of new faces here out tonight, so that's great. Thank you for coming out. The event today is focused on the Brazilian market. We've got a fantastic panel with some mobile executives that have come up from Sao Paulo, and we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. We'd like to talk about a few sponsors that have come on board, so we're really excited about that. Alex and myself and Dal and Jolyn have been running the chapter for around 5 years now, and given the size and the growth and the excitement around what we're doing, we've been lucky enough to work very closely with sponsors in the early stage, such as the CWTA, and most recently we've had a couple of sponsors that have come on board. So we're going to hear from those sponsors tonight to tell us a bit more about what they're doing in market. Could you put the next slide on, please? So we have Rogers that will be helping us out at the grassroots level, and we're very happy that they've come on board to work more closely with ourselves and the community. Next month, we'll probably take a little bit more time to tell you about what their plans are and what message they want to share with the audience. Next slide. Miller Thomson is officially a partner now, and we have Anthony DeFazikis, who will come up and talk a little bit more about their practice and how they can help any organization working in tech either protect IP or set up an ideal corporate structure. So we're really thrilled about Anthony and Miller Thomson coming to help us. So he's here now to share a few words.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. Miller Thomson is very excited to be a sponsor of MoMo. We've been watching and coming to a lot of these events, and we've also been very active in the mobile technology space in Ontario for quite a number of years, starting with a lot of mobile device companies, universities, really active in that space, and I encourage you to work with them, rely on them. University of Toronto, Ryerson, Western, University of Waterloo, they're really real powerhouses in that area. And of course, we need more wealth and we need more jobs, and that means emerging businesses and serial entrepreneurship. It's so important. It's part of the Mars activities that are incredibly important, has to do with coming to these events and collaborating with one another and providing support, and sometimes you also need legal support, which is why we have designed the MTech program, which has delivered a lot of the success stories in the Mars community already. We've been at the table providing some needs assessments and IP strategy and corporate work, and we're very excited to do that in the mobile space as well. So we're looking forward to being involved. We're looking forward to the wonderful programming that Momo has put together. We're going to be learning a lot, maybe not learning how to Samba, but it's really interesting to hear what's going on in the Brazilian market. I want to recognize my colleagues here from Miller Thomson that are here. Bob Stewart, one of our corporate lawyers working with the MTech program. Could you stand up a little bit, please? And then in the back, Anil Bole, Karen Durrell, Roxanne Chow, all in the IP group, and also Sarah Lowy from the corporate group as well. So we have an office here at Mars. Thank you. We have an office here at Mars that I'd encourage you to take advantage of what we offer through Mars, which is free IP strategy and assessments and so on. We have 260 companies in our MTech program. 34 of those actually are mobile technology companies. So it's a great sector, and we're eager to make investments all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. We'd also like to welcome Nokia as a sponsor, and I was fortunate enough to be in Helsinki last week for the Mobile Monday Global Summit, and they gave us a tour of the headquarters in Helsinki. And you really don't hear a lot about Nokia in the North American market, but I tell you, they are really big, and they've got a great strategy in place to work more closely with developers with a lot of cool devices that they've come out with. We actually have a draw this evening for a giveaway for their latest smartphone, the N8, and we have 2 of those. We have Chad Saliba here from Nokia, who's going to tell us a little bit more about what they're doing in the developer space. and we'll do a draw after the panel this evening. So we're excited to have Nokia participating as well, and here's Chad.
Excellent. Well, first off, thank you very much, Jim. Much appreciated, and thank you everyone for having me tonight. It is actually a very exciting time for Nokia. Nokia World went down a couple of weeks ago. We have seen a couple of really great sort of developments in not only how we do application strategy and really kind of appeal to the developer community, but also the devices that we want to appeal to, right? So we already have a huge kind of broad reach, but we want to continue to move forward with our Symbian operating system and beyond. So our Symbian operating system has developed most recently into Symbian 3, and the Nokia N8, which is now available worldwide and is shipping, is the first kind of device that we want to take that forward step with. So we expect to really go some great places with Symbian 3, but it's worth really kind of looking back for a second as to where our reach is so far. So we've got really three kind of distinct segments. Series 40. This is the device that is really kind of welcoming people to mobility, not only in North America, Europe, and South America, but also in the emerging markets. We've seen India and China really kind of drive the install base of something like Series 40. And these are the sorts of people that are not only using the devices to kind of make phone calls and send text messages anymore, but really kind of make it a part of their life tool, right? This is a part of what they do day to day. And one little anecdote that I really like about this is that tens of millions of people are actually accessing the internet and getting email for the first time on their mobile device. Series 40 is what's helping us drive that. Right now, we've got 500 million addressable devices worldwide with Series 40. 1 million were sold per day in 2009. Okay? It's a great platform, and we're going to talk about kind of how we talk to that platform directly in a second. More importantly, Symbian 3, which is available in touch and non-touch versions, has also really made some great headway in the smartphone space for us. It's really kind of opened up a lot of the features that kind of drive OV services, a lot of what we do in terms of maps, messaging, as well as the store, which we're most concerned with tonight. And we've got 175 million of those devices available already. 300,000 are sold per day. This is something that continues to grow and continues to drive that affordable to mid-range to high-tier smartphone market, but is really also kind of leading the way into something called Symbian 3. So Symbian 3, which launches with N8 first, as we were talking about here, the N8 really gives us an opportunity to take advantage of new and cool features that drive mobile use, not only from an app side, but also from a hardware perspective. The N8's got a 12-megapixel camera with Carl Zeiss lens. It does things like HD video recording. It plays back through an HDMI port, things we never really thought we could do on a device before. Symbian 3, we're planning to sell 50 million of these, and we're not planning to sell 50 million N8s alone. We're planning to sell C7s, C601, E7s, all the great devices that we saw at Nokia World and beyond. But of course, what's going to drive these is not just great hardware anymore. It is applications, and it is software, and it is content. So Nokia has always been a great supporter of opening up standards for everybody and making sure that we support everything from Flash to Java to our own Symbian operating system, and that's native in its native language. But we want to make sure that it's easier and it's streamlined for developers to really kind of speak to the devices they want to speak to. Java has really become kind of that language of choice for Series 40, and it's a great opportunity to really kind of bring your ideas to devices that you really wouldn't expect too much out of other than send-and-end calling and text messages and the occasional internet access. Java really opens that up for us. Web apps, so web runtime, as well as the Qt application framework, are really kind of what makes Symbian 3 and beyond sing. Okay? What we really want to talk about today is Qt. So anybody who's got any sort of background with C or C++ programming is instantly someone who can code in Qt. And what Qt allows us to do is take the Symbian 3 framework and the Symbian 3 kind of environment, build on that, really take advantage of what we afford everyone with the hardware, and run with it. As Symbian develops and we move into mobile computing platforms, it's a framework that allows us to take the content and seamlessly move it along. And we distribute it through the OV store. 190 countries and regions are on the OV store right now. I can't name even half of those, but I'm sure they're there. 120 plus devices can access the OV store. 30 languages, and most importantly, 91 operators offer us integrated billing. So what that allows me to do, even here in Canada, is actually find something on the OV store that I like. And it's not just apps. It could be content, it could be widgets, utilities, really anything that I want, wallpapers and themes, and charge that directly to my phone bill. It's a seamless kind of way of just grabbing anything I want off the store without having to take out my credit card or a voucher for a 99-cent or a $2 purchase. So it really kind of makes the whole experience much better for customers, as well as the developers themselves who are getting the lion's share of that revenue. So developers are responding pretty well so far. Now, this is kind of an intimidating slide because it really calls out a lot of application brands we've seen already, and it really kind of gives the impression that a lot of the ideas have already been brought to the platform. And that simply isn't true. We've got a lot of the brand names really kind of picking up on where they're missing out on a Nokia platform so far. So we do see a lot of those brand names, but we also start to see a lot of great, unique ideas. This is what's driving the competitive device market right now, and it's what's going to continue to drive Nokia as well. We've seen some fantastic progress with what we can do from everything from Series 40 and onwards, from upstart developers who really kind of bring their great ideas to the platform quickly and easily. And for anyone who's going to ask, yes, you can play Angry Birds on Symbian 3 as well, so that's how I've wasted the last couple of weeks. And of course, they're seeing great results. They're speaking directly to those 190 countries. These 190 countries are accessible for me as a developer however I want. So if I code something in English, but I want it to be available to any Series 40 device that can run it in any country or specific countries, I can actually do that. People are averaging 2.6 apps or pieces of content per visit. So they're really kind of finding something, opening it, going back to the store and looking for more. They're constantly asking us, what else can my phone do for me? We're opening up, with the help of developers, really a lot of channels for them to discover what their phone can do beyond the simple things that they associate with using a Nokia phone. 8.5 downloads per month from 85% repeat visitors means that people are seeing a value in the Ovi brand proposition. 2.3 million downloads a day worldwide, and that continues to go. Every day we see more and more and more downloads of every sort of content and applications, and it's really kind of driving how even I use a Nokia device day to day, because I get bored easily, and that's how it is. But it's not unique, right? We don't have a one-trick pony who does that. We call out guys like Rovio with Angry Birds, but 70 developers can boast 1 million downloads. That means somebody's picking something off the store and asking, what else can this developer do? Who else can I recommend it to? I can share instantly from within the Ovi store and make sure that other people are clear on exactly what an application can do to kind of make my whole Nokia experience, regardless of the device, better every day. This is how we want to continue to drive that. So I can give you guys facts and figures, and I can encourage you and smile all I want and make sure that everybody's clear on what to do with the framework, or I can just promise $10 million to everybody. So this is a little better. What we want to do is make sure that the content is making it to the device and that we're giving everybody a fair shake as to how that content gets there. So for North America, I understand that the theme tonight is Brazil, but we'll kind of keep it local tonight. Inside North America, we're offering $10 million in cash and prizes and marketing. So what this means is that we've got a bunch of categories. We'd like people to get started right away. Okay, this program has been running for a couple of weeks already. It will run into early 2011. And it gives me as a developer an opportunity to publish my content and constantly have it evaluated and judged. And from there, qualify for all sorts of great applications, or all sorts of great prizing. What we want to do, though, is make sure that we're giving a great user experience. Okay, we want to leverage everything a Symbian 3 device can do. Everything from hardware sensors all the way up to a great camera and OpenGL 3D acceleration as well. So the pricing is very generous. $250,000 to the top 2, as well as $1.9 million in Nokia marketing. This is enormous. We all know where Nokia's reach is in terms of marketing and brand awareness. We're constantly ranked at 5th in brand awareness and brand power worldwide. So that's enormous, particularly in those emerging markets. But we also have grand prize, runner-up winners. And when that's all settled out, those top 55 spots, the next 500 ranking submissions will also get a Symbian 3 device. So there's something in it for everybody. Of course, we want to make sure that everybody, all excited now, really kind of goes out and competes for that $10 million. But we don't want you guys to go it alone. Everywhere from South America to here in North America with a new initiative, we want to make sure that everybody understands how to code for Qt and how to really kind of make the best of the platform that we're offering. So the SDK is free, publishing is free, and we do have a tour going around North America that gives everybody an opportunity to have an intense 2-day training session on Qt specifically. So we want you guys walking out of there knowing exactly how to code and really kind of get started with your Hello World app or beyond. And this could be for novices, anybody with some C or C++ background, to somebody who already kind of considers themselves a Qt professional and really wants to take it to the next level. So luckily for us, the first stop is here in the center of the world in Toronto. It's October 13th and 14th. It's happening free of charge, and you can register for it at callingallinnovators/10M, right? So as we look forward into Symbian 3 and kind of what we can do with it and going beyond that into our mobile device platforms, we always want to make sure the content is there. That's what's going to drive the sales for us, and that's what's going to drive the awareness and the best experience a mobile user can possibly have. And we think regardless of the device that they choose from the Nokia lineup. So I encourage everybody to visit callingallinnovators.com/10M. I personally don't code at all, but I'm starting to think I should probably learn. And really kind of register, come to the Qt trainings, get the most you possibly can out of it, and wait for me to be handing out oversized novelty checks at the end of the event. More importantly, though, and more immediately, we do actually have a couple of things we'd like to give away. So as Jim noted, I've brought with me a very nice laptop bag. So it's got the Nokia thing on it. It's great. It's got a USB key in there, an SDK. I think that's it. And a Nokia N8 in it as well. So everyone's thrown their business card into a bucket. We've got it there. So we'll be drawing those in a little while. We've got 2 of these to give away, but we'd always love to see more and more involvement, particularly at things like the Qt Hands-On Developer Day, because you get to use an N8 while you're there. This is really an amazing phone. I've got one on me if you'd like to see it. But more importantly, get familiar with Symbian and get your name in the hat. So that's all the time I think I've been given tonight, but I do appreciate everybody's enthusiasm, I'm sure. We'll see you in the future, and please enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chad, and thank you to the Miller-Thomson team and Rogers Wireless, Will and Ryan and Chris there, and they'll have an opportunity to speak next month when they want to make their announcement. Interesting point. At the Global Summit last week, I met a lot of my co-founder colleagues in Helsinki, and I'd say the vast majority of them were using Nokia phones coming from markets like South America and Asia and Europe, so very, very big brand and very important in the scene. I'd like to thank the Mars team as well for setting up the event, of course, Janet, and she's always given me a big hand, so thanks for your help, and thanks to the AV team and the film team too. Tonight's event focused on Brazil. We've got 3 execs from Sao Paulo and Ron Gruia from Frost Sullivan. To give you a little bit of context and background, Michelle Perras from the MEIC is going to come up and say a few words. She was pretty instrumental in kind of coordinating the timing to having the Team Brazil here with the event that we're doing tonight, so we're pretty happy with her help in getting this going. So come on up, Michelle.
Hi, everybody, and I know that we have a really busy schedule tonight, so I won't take up too much of your time. But I'm Michelle Paris. I'm the director of the MEIC. We're a not-for-profit based out of OCAD University, and as Jim mentioned, we did bring up 3 of our delegates that are going to be speaking here tonight from São Paulo, and they're part of a larger group of folks from São Paulo, Porto Alegre, and Rio de Janeiro, researchers and business people who are coming up for this week's M-Connect session. So we have a workshop happening Wednesday afternoon at OCAD University that's focusing on partnership development between businesses both here and in Brazil, as well as universities. And we also have a half-day conference on Thursday morning, also at OCAD University. And you can find out more information at meic.ca. And that's part of the reason why our wonderful folks are up here. So hopefully we'll see you there. If you have any questions, please come and find me later. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Okay, we'll get into panel introductions, and we have Marcello and Paulo here from MobileFest, and we have Teresa Lobo from Solidaritas. Ron Gruia, who's been a very active member of our chapter and also a panelist for our February event, very colorful individual from Frost and Sullivan. He'll be our moderator for this evening. We'll have a few slides from each of the mobile execs, and I think Ron wants to give a high-level overview of the Brazilian market as well. But just a little bit about Ron. He's the program leader and principal analyst for emerging telecom at Frost and Sullivan. He speaks at a ton of conferences out there. You've probably seen him speak. He's a great speaker, very colorful analogies he gives all the time. He's also written a lot in magazines and often quoted in publications. So, Ron, why don't you come up here and tell us a little bit more about the Brazilian market?
Well, thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody. I want to just take a second here to thank the organizers for thinking about yours truly. I also want to thank the Mars team, and want to tell you that it truly gives me a big honor. It's a great honor for me to be here to talk about the Brazilian market. I actually, I'm originally Brazilian, so I came to Canada when I was about 15 years old, finished high school here, then went on to study at MIT and came back. I'm actually one of the few Canadians who came back from the States, so, that's rare, because usually using the diode, current just goes one way, doesn't come back. But, sorry for the nerdy joke, but nevertheless, we're here to talk about Brazil. I'm not really the star of the show. The stars are right here. I'm just going to give a very quick intro, so please treat this as a potpourri presentation. But again, I don't want to steal from the people here who are the true stars. So, what can we say about Brazil? It's really, I like to think, I use the G7 analogy, so you could say that it's a giant in the making. It's definitely in the G7 of the quote-unquote wireless community out there in the world. Number 5 country mobile subscribers, about 188 million subs. Now, again, I would say probably a big proportion, about 80% of those subs are prepaid. But still, to be just behind, China, India, US, and Russia, it is truly impressive. And considering where technology was before and how they've actually done such a tremendous job at catching up and actually taking that big quantum leap, so to speak, it's been truly amazing. Mobile broadband penetration is definitely increasing. You have a chart here that shows the penetration of 3G handsets in Brazil. The coverage currently reaches about 65% of the population. It's still under about 16 million sets, so even 3G is not quite as mature, as developed there as it is here, but still, nevertheless, you have quite a bit of growth. Of course, it's easy to grow when you're small, but it's amazing to see the service revenues grow up like they have, and witness the foreign investment in Brazil, where you see the foreign conglomerates. So Carlos Slim and his folks from América Móvil investing in Claro, and Telefonica investing in Vivo and other properties, and also. You have Telecom Italia Mobile, and you also have Portugal Telecom, which just recently Telefonica bought their share of Vivo, so they're going to be reapplying some of that money in Brazil, so that's truly impressive. As you can see, there's also good potential in the future. If you look at the pricing, there's been quite a bit of drops in terms of revenue per minute. Again, very aggressive plans being introduced by some players like Telecom Italia Mobile. Also, pretty good bundling activities going on with Vivo, and also handset subsidization, by players like Oi, which is really impressive because when you look at it, that's making wireless really be a very, very affordable option for especially for the lower and lower middle class strata of Brazilian society, and that's certainly very encouraging. Now, compared to the other South American countries or Latin American countries, you could see that in terms of wireless traffic as a percentage of total voice traffic, it's still Brazil is still kind of lagging behind. So that fixed to mobile substitution hasn't quite happened as of yet. But we believe, again, with the more aggressive pricing and with mobile termination rates going down, that's going to be a trend. Again, very strong foreign direct investment, projected to rise 80% in 2010. Those are really impressive stats. And this also means that even though penetration is getting close to about 96%, you still have room to grow. Again, with the SIM cards, you could actually, just to give you some comparables, you have countries like Argentina and Chile who are over 100%. So there's still pretty decent penetration. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We have quite a vibrant marketplace. You could see the 4 big players. There's also Nextel. Now, Nextel chances are they're going to win a good chunk of the next spectrum auction, the band H, because the incumbents, the 4 big ones, they're not allowed to really bid on that. So there's some speculation whether or not the Nextel or maybe the Vivendi group are going to bid on some of that spectrum. But that's actually pretty good to see what may happen. GVT is still one of the so-called espelhinhos, the smaller companies that are still left standing. And you have Vivendi, the French guys who are coming into the market. So there's potential for another entry there. But very, very competitive marketplace. Just to give you some quick examples of Brazilian wireless innovations, you have numerous examples. You have here in the top right-hand corner, it's a solar-powered Wi-Fi access point. The middle picture, if you ever go to São Paulo, you probably navigate through Paulista Avenue, which really looks like the Fifth Avenue of South America because you have all these giant skyscrapers. And it's actually pretty neat to find out very interesting research that's being carried out by Brazilian universities like ITA, Unicamp, etc. I also want to be fair to Teresa and call out the Fundão, which is the big university in Rio. They've been doing interesting work on multipath propagation, and it's truly amazing because these are Brazilian problems, and many times they require a little bit of ingenuity from an RF propagation standpoint, and there's Brazilian solutions. So. Here's another one, the GSM access point in rural areas. I know Nokia has been very instrumental in this, and also, some of the other ones like the Zibo wireless entertainment system. Anyway, again, bottom line is a direct combination of local creativity, the desire to solve country-specific problems, and the so-called jogo de cintura, which is like trying to kind of wiggle your way through all this red tape and bureaucracy and all this kind of stuff to make it through. But very, very amazing progress. More than anything else, I'll go back here. I just want to end with this because sometimes you got to also have a lighter side. So this is the Brazilian logo for the World Cup in 2014. This is how they actually came up. The people that were designing as the Brazil-Netherlands match went on, this is basically how they ended up with the final logo. So the good thing is you got to keep it light and you got to be able to laugh at ourselves. But we certainly have accomplished quite a bit, and we're going to hear some great stories. So I thank you for the opportunity, and let me introduce the panelists. First of all, I want to introduce Marcelo Godoy, who's the owner of New TV, Interactive Mobile World. You have also he has also done quite a bit of new business development at Show Livre, and also the commercial director at TV Online. Paulo Hartmann, the Mobile Fest founder, also organizer of Mobile Fest, which is actually a pretty big event in Brazil, and multimedia artist, musician, guitar player, and I like this, new media curator and owner of PhD. So he's probably going to elaborate a little bit more on that. And we also have the Mobile Fest competition winner. When I was doing the slides at Bohemian Hour last week, she hadn't been announced yet, so I apologize, but maybe Teresa is going to have the pleasure to actually talk a little bit about herself before we get started. So here they are. Thank you, and I'm going to try to moderate for as long as I can, but then Jim is going to rescue me because I'm going to Portugal tonight, so I'm actually talking to the plane right now. I'm trying to sort of negotiate that, but I'm going to try to stay and stick around for as long as I can. I'm going to the mother country, so to speak, so that's going to be interesting. Thank you. Okay.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank Michel Perez and Make and OCADS, Ontario College of Art and Design, for since last year we were designing this project, which ISCP, which is a collaboration between Brazil and Canada, and so our presence here is definitely an outcome of this project. So. I'm Paulo Hartmann, and so this is soccer, samba, and mobile. So I'm not going to talk in this order, but okay. So my partner Marcelo and I, we built back in 2006 Mobile Fest, which is a festival that deals with mobile and wireless technologies. And this is the basic question, the fundamental question of Mobile Fest, which is how mobile technology can contribute to different sectors and even more important, levels of society. Because that's how we understand mobile technologies are nowadays. Also, inside this platform, we build Mobile Fest Labs, which is a series of activities and binational projects where basically we try to demystify technologies even from this recycling or reusage of technology, open source, and also patent as well. And also, one of the things that is key in this Mobile Fest Labs is bringing technologies to Brazil and to the Brazilian market. Okay, some of the cases, and one interesting thing, most of them Canadian ones. We have been establishing a very good relationship with Canadian researchers and developers. In 2007, we had the Murmur project. I don't know if you're aware, from Gabe Sony. It's a locative media oral stories related to some particular areas of Toronto, also connected with the Wireless Toronto movement. In 2008, we were gladly selected to the Innovative Strategic Program when we could bring down to Brazil Jeffrey Share, which had an installation at the Blanche Nuit, right? A couple of, actually, 2 nights ago. Rob King, and again, Gabe Sony. In 2009, in a collaboration with the VAS Society from Amsterdam, we established this collaboration with them and created this Global Gincana, which is basically a locative media game where Brazilian students and kids from the Netherlands also design games to be played. The Brazilian designed a game to be played in the Netherlands and vice versa. So it was a very interesting project. Also Dark Forest, a collaboration between Brazil and UK, specifically Nottingham, which is connecting environmental areas such as the Nottingham, Sherwood Forest, and Mata Atlântica. Also, continuing in 2009, we have the presence of Sarah Diamond, where Sarah Diamond is the president of Ontario College of Art and Design, where she could participate in Mobile Fest, São Paulo and Rio, and also deliver lectures at Rio Grande do Sul in the south part of the country. So we have some interesting similarities between Canadian and Brazilian markets. And definitely one of the seminal ones would be, I would say, the MMS interoperability. In Canada, which was the first, in Brazil, which was the second. 3 carriers in Canada, 8 carriers in Brazil. 2010 Brazilian trends, broadband PNBL. PNBL stands for the National Plan for Broadband, which is definitely on the discussion table, which is good. When we talk about broadband in Brazil, we're talking, unfortunately, about 1 megabyte. But again, once the discussion is open, I think it's a very good thing for our country. 3D expansion, wireless broadband, of course, regarding to PNBL, fiber optics, convergence services, mobile carriers consolidation, as Ron spoke a little bit about it, reaching over 100 cell phones per 100 users. MVNOs finally are starting appearing some movements in that field at last. Data revenue increase and digital television. For those who are not aware, our digital television system allows the mobile usage because we use the Japanese system and a mix between Japanese and we also build a system based on the Japanese regulations. So back to the PNBL. Which stands for the Plano Nacional de Banda Larga, the Brazilian National Broadband Plan. So broadband services should be provided as a public service, finally, and access as a basic right status. And that magically connects with the Millennium Project number 2, achieve universal primary education, because some of the devices and some of the experience that we have in Brazil are already happening even before PNBL. And we can tell by Mangaratiba, Piraí, and Rocinha, located in Rio. They're all digital cities with wireless connection, some of them free connection for the citizens. Parintins, which is a WiMAX mesh, and Sudiminuti in São Paulo, which again, wireless and Wi-Fi connection. And of course, that with the PNBL, there's definitely many more to come. The Brazil panorama is changing really, really rapidly. I believe that you are aware of all the things that is being discussed about Brazil. And definitely smartphones are the, how can I say, one of the key products, desired products. So the difference between now consumer prosumer is definitely vanishing. And now they're, let's say that we're talking about much more like citizens and not consumers. And why citizens, not consumers? The thing is, you can see this little green fellow down, this OLPC computer. Brazil was actually one of the first countries to adopt the OLPC program from MIT. And even being an early adopter, it didn't work. I mean, it was only a few projects. And if you see all the other mobile phones listed there, there is one thing that connects them really, really well. All of them are Wi-Fi. And yes, all of them came from China. And then we have smartphones against computers. And I believe that you Canadians for sure are pretty much aware of this logo, right? Which is sounds, feels, maybe smells like BlackBerry, but it's not. It's a Chinese copy. But it looks like an iPhone, right? Yes, it does. So I don't know, it's an iBerry or a black phone, you know. But the thing is, if you see the list down, all of them with Wi-Fi capabilities, and even more important, some with quadri chip. I mean, with 4 slots for 4 SIM cards. As Ron stated, these are the 4 most important telcos in Brazil: Claro, Oi, Vivo, and TIM. And another interesting thing about Brazil is that, yes, this is Wi-Fi, and yes, this is a TV reception, and you know that TV is a big thing in Brazil. And yes, it's really, really cheap. And plus, they can pay on installments, that's why one of the reasons that Brazil is booming, you know, because of credit. It's 12 installments on only 31 reais. That's a meal deal, right? That's 12 Canadian dollars for a cell phone. Okay, so, and also we have this BlackBerry. You see from a website, Compre da China. So you can see you have BlackBerry, right? BlackBerry, so that's TV, right? But that's a BlackBerry that you have never seen a BlackBerry like this, right? It was that was the BlackBerry iPad, right? Sorry. So Berry White, no, it's nothing, it doesn't, BlackBerry, Black White, no, Berry White. Definitely not someone connected with mobile technology. Well, maybe on the ringtones, right? So that leads us to the very countryside of Brazil, a city called Itu. Itu is known in Brazil for being built huge things of everything, like the big Brazilian booth. You know, this is now in the past it used to be an orange, not Telefonica green, but now Telefonica won in São Paulo, so of course it's a Telefonica sponsorship. But E2, na verdade, in fact, doesn't have anything to do with the city. It stands for International Telecommunication Union that has rated Brazil as, yes, we are champion on football. No, not exactly, not this year, but as the most expensive country on the planet. So Brazilians pay more for using mobile phones. Brazil has the most expensive phones in the world. Cellular in Brazil is one of the most expensive, and etc. So that's how ITU has ranked us early this year. Oops, sorry. Okay. So about soccer. This picture was taken after Mobile Fest. This was actually the last day of Mobile Fest. I was picking up my car with the valet service, and there was a very important game, a football game, soccer game. So, so the guy on the valet service was actually watching the game with his mobile. So that can tell you a lot of how consumers are using mobile phones in Brazil. And yes, this wasn't taken with a Nokia camera. This was actually a crappy iPhone camera. Sorry about that. So even with this scenario, taxes on telecommunication service over 40%. That's why we are champion. Yes, over 40% of taxes on telecommunication services. But let's go to Samba, right? Samba, it's one of the topics, right? Samba, football, and mobile. But Samba, as Ron was telling us, it was this saying in Portuguese. It's jogo de cintura. It's actually moving the hips. You have Matrix, right? You have to move in order not to be shoot. So that's a sort of Samba as well. And this is what's happening in Samba in Brazil. So these are some of the latest news from Reuters. Strong economy has lifted millions of Brazilians out of poverty. That's true, into a new middle class in the past few years. Okay, so that's another Samba tune. In the past 2 years, more than 23 million people have risen from lower income classes into Class C. So, of course, you are aware of the rise of the B Class C, which is going to change everything. Households with monthly incomes between this amount of money, you see, which take up 40% of Brazil population. That's huge. We are talking about definitely a lot of people. The number of people in the lowest Class D and E fell to 39%. Okay, so that's Samba as well. And thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invite to come here. I have a presentation. We are going to talk about an idea we had last year about applications. Let me see. Okay, this is the question that we propose in Mobile Fest. Paulo talk a little bit about it. Okay, since our first edition in 2006, the market changed so fast. Many things happen. And the mobile applications transform many things in the market and the way we use mobile phones. It's a great market. Brazil is not only 50 or 20% of Brazil use prepaid, and in the VAS and the value-added service, the application represents only 15% of the revenues. So it's still in the beginning. Again. So this is a little bit about our story in this last 5 years. I kept some labs Paulo talked about. Because it's really inusitate to talk about mobile technology in Brazil, and our project is supported by the government using tax, a cultural tax, we have a lot of attention from media. So it's really good to do a project like this in Brazil because of the social facts and social things that we're trying to bring. We try to bring good ideas to Brazil and to implement because of the big scale that we have. So we decided to create a mobile fast application in Brazil. It was I went to Barcelona in the beginning of this year, and I saw this huge pavilion of application, and it wasn't there in the year before. So it was the idea to create this thing in Brazil to stimulate the production of mobile applications. It was a national and international trend. And we create this hour for all applications, all platforms. So for iPhone, for BlackBerry, Android, Windows Mobile, Symbian, and Flash, and Java. And we create some categories using democracy, culture, ecology, peace, education, health, commerce, and the third sector. And we have this idea that the winner who come to Toronto to show this application and try to do new things and business and synergies with Canada. And Teresa is here, and she will tell you about this application, which is a social application. It's an amazing thing that connects people in the favelas using mobile technologies. Okay, some numbers about Brazil and Canada. We have 192 million people compared with Canada. GDP are alike, but Brazil population 6 times larger. GDP per capita in Canada is 40,000 and 5 times greater than Brazil. We have prepaid versus postpaid, and 68 million internet users, and keep growing. So I brought this surprise, that something that we are going to propose. Actually, we are going to do a Mobile Fest in Rio in May or June. And I have this idea that the best application coming from Canada will come to Brazil in May. So if you have a good application for your mobile phone, you can apply and come to Brazil, to Rio de Janeiro, probably in May, June, to show your application and to make business and partnership with Brazilian. The Mobile Fest will happen, this was the first edition in May, and it will happen inside a big university, PUC, which has contributed to develop Brazil digital system, which is called Ginga, that now it's been exported to 11 countries in South America and in Africa. So before we have the American, the European, and the Japanese digital system, now we have the Brazilian digital system that works really well on mobile phones. You can drive 120 kilometers per hour, and you can see it's a great signal. So you don't pay to watch TV in Brazil using the mobile. So that's what we are launching today. It's this contest. I'm very happy to be here, and I hope you guys join this contest. Why join? Who join? Who participates? These are our partner in Brazil. We have a big telco, which is Claro from América Móvil, and MTV, and other manufacturers like Motorola, Samsung, Nokia, Adobe. Our idea, Intel, the main idea is to we give free, we teach to build application for free in Brazil. So during Mobile Fest, you can go there, kids can go there and learn how to create application in Flash, for Android, for Nokia, for iPhone, and it's amazing. We are investing in the creative industries in Brazil for mobile application. What are we looking for? Partnership with Canadian companies and institutions to explore Brazilian market and opportunities, and create a network for Brazilian and Canadian mobile applications company. Thank you. And now I want to present this wonderful project, this wonderful application called Wikimapa. That's something really special. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all the sponsors of this event. Thank you the guys from Mobile Fest to give us the opportunity to present this, this movement. It's not a project. Actually, it's a movement. That's something that's going on, and there's no turning back to this. I won't talk about Samba. I won't mention soccer, okay? I'll talk about people. People that does Samba and people that does soccer in Brazil. And how they are using the mobile to improve the quality of life. The name Wikimapa, it builds up from this, the idea of the cooperation process. It's a wiki tool. It's built on cooperation, on collaboration among citizens, among people. And the project is targeted to low-income areas in Brazil. And we have the slums. Rio is famous for the slums, where drug gangs control the life of the citizens that live there. So the pilot project is located in 5 of these slums that they are conflict areas, as I mentioned, and we are talking about war areas. They are dealing with guns, with grenades, with rifles every day. And these areas are being liberated now by a state policy on security. And 3 of these areas now are free of these drug dealers, and only 3 of them in these 5. We have about 100 of these slum areas in Brazil. Well, but there are 3 tools that are being used: a site, a Wikimapa site, a mobile site, and a mobile application with that cost that is mentioned there. Which are the goals that we are searching, and fortunately we are succeeding in this? First, what is going on in these areas? It's not only drug dealers that live there. There are people, there are workers, there are kids, there are mothers, there are parents that are living there and that they work. There's an economy there, a small economy, but a very productive one. There is very little awareness about what's going on there. They don't know what they have, and the city doesn't know what is going on there. There was a writer in Rio that said, that labeled Rio as a broken city, a torn out city. The slums and the asphalt, what we call the asphalt. Okay? And the idea is how to bring these 2 parts of the city to a better life. The idea is always to focus on people. What are they doing there? What kind of activities, productive activities, are they developing there? what kind of entrepreneurship is there that is being developed there, and how could they produce the contents of these applications. And, okay, this is the website, and it looks like a sort of a Google map with all the schools, health posts, local associations, small commerce, diners, and you see the yellow lights, the yellow lines, new roads that are opened by the local residents and are not recognized by the local council or the local government. And this application is able to map these streets, these back streets actually, and to turn them formal, legal streets and legal roads. The website is, the contents are introduced by what we call the week reporter. They are girls from the community. I'm going to talk about them later on. I'm trying to go quick. The website makes available information about each of the posts. This is a diner, a sort of a diner, a very small, a sort of a bar, a convenience store. And what they offer, there's a video on them, there's a picture, and there's a web address if they have a web address. The mobile application, that's why we're here, because we created, not we sat together with a company, with a Brazilian company, a Brazilian private company, to produce this mobile application. And that's with a GPS, and it's a Nokia cell phone. And they locate very precisely which are the spots and interacts with the mobile, the Wikmapper website. Street mapping, we emphasize the importance of street mapping because by mapping the streets that are not known by the residents themselves, it's very important for them. They create the feeling of belonging to that area. They are recognized as citizens in that community. The mobile site is another application, and there's a navigation through the cell phone. And an additional product is the information on what is going on in terms of sports, cultural events, entertainment, and services, especially for the youth people. But who is doing this? Who is this people I talked about at the beginning? In the pilot project, there were 5 slums, as I mentioned. Each slum was mapped by a girl, 6 girls, resident girls that live in that area. They were selected, and they have high school education, and they had a 6-month period, and a competition period, and the winner of this competition was offered a full scholarship in a university to go at the university, a Catholic university that went this. But the idea is that we are not talking about regular high school students. We are talking about late students. They are 25 years old, 22 years old, 20 years old, much beyond the average age for this period of education. Which are the main results? In those 5 slums, we have partnered with 134 community organizations. This is a network, a social network that was created by this program that is quite important. They talk with themselves. They share information. They share successes and failures. About 1,300 spots were mapped. 83, almost 90 streets, new streets, were formally mapped and acknowledged by the local community. Now, until now, September 2010, they have about 700 users' profiles that applied to use the application. And almost 300 youngsters were trained to disseminate the information within the favela, the slum. Wikmapa was certified by UNESCO and by 2 big companies, one bank and the major oil company in Brazil, and by UNESCO, the UN system education organism. We received this in Barcelona, this international award, and this year the Mobile Fest, the National Mobile Fest in Brazil, as well awarded to Wikmapa. The expansion, now we are entering a second phase. And what's the idea now is to improve the project in these areas and going to others. Replicating this project is quite feasible. We've been recognized by this. And as I mentioned, there is this state policy of liberating these areas. And the challenge that we are facing now is how we articulate the work that is being done through Wikmapa with the social investments that are being directed towards these areas that are liberated from the drug traffic. How to include each time more the local youth in these areas. I was mentioning this morning to Marcelo that the educational system in Brazil is very bad. At high school level, it's worse than ever. And we are expelling about 40,000 youth, boys and girls, per year. They are going into the streets, and they are the best target for the drug dealers. So we have a strong debt with these boys and girls that are being expelled by the educational system. We have to give them opportunities. We have to improve their self-esteem, the idea of belonging to that community and be proud of it. We are talking about self-esteem. And we are always in need of partners. Not only financial partners, but technical partners that could expand our capacity, our ability to keep on going. Thank you so much.
I just forgot to show the video that we promote the application contents, and it's really a funny video. It's because I saw this bear in
Você que tem uma imaginação incrível, participe do primeiro Prêmio Mobile Fest de aplicativos para celular em todas as plataformas. Crie um aplicativo sensacional e concorra a uma viagem para mostrar o seu talento lá no Canadá. Corra! As inscrições só vão até 15 de setembro. Acesse o site premiummobilefest.com.br e conheça o regulamento. Concorra, participe, viaje!
Thank you, Paulo, Marcello, and Teresa. Ron had to go off to the airport, like you said, to grab a flight to Portugal. So I think what we'll do is have the panel up here, and I'll start off with some questions. We have 2 microphones, and I'm sure a lot of people have questions. So we'll intermix questions from the audience and myself. So if you could come up and join us now. So if anyone has questions, certainly just stand up. Yeah, that was a really interesting example you gave of mobile as a tool for social change. I'm just curious as to whether the local operators or device manufacturers have supported you, or how did you get this off the ground?
Well, thank you for the question, Jim. This is a very, very recent project. We began last year. We had support, financial support from one of the biggest mobile companies, the operator, one of the big operators, okay, for the first part of the project, for the pilot project. And now we are looking for other sponsors. Okay. But for the first part, it was totally funded by one of the major operators.
And did many of the people already have devices, or did you have to provide devices in the field?
Yes, they've, with the funds, we had this Nokia N95.
Okay. Yeah.
With a GPS,
yeah.
And we bought them this device.
Great. Question.
Hi, my name is Bob Weiss from Event Mobi. I was in Brazil actually last year in Belo Horizonte, and what really struck me was the tax level from the government for anything that's imported into Brazil that's not manufactured in Brazil, and that includes smartphones. So iPhone prices were almost over $1,200. And do you see that as an issue in terms of adoption of smartphones in Brazil when the prices are so high and not really affordable by the majority of the public, even the Class Bs in some cases?
Well, it's definitely not helping, right? And even with this scenario, it's growing. That's one of the things that's amazing. But for instance, one friend of ours, Martin from MobileMonday São Paulo, he's leading a very interesting group in trying to get mobile learning applications, let's say, not included in this, liberated from these taxes, for instance. But still, you see, it's really, really difficult to see any change on that.
So where is this? I think on the slide it was saying that 65% of the population actually has access to 3G. I'm curious to know actually what devices are actually using 3G. If they're, which smartphones are most popular in Brazil that are actually using 3G for data connectivity?
We have the
dongle, the modem, the 3G modem.
Okay. They use a lot to access the web. But the most popular are Nokia. Nokia is one of the most popular in Brazil. And Motorola, and also now BlackBerry and iPhone.
And the Chinese, of course.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, do you want to go to the microphone? Thank you.
My question is, you mentioned there were 5 slums that were in the pilot, but only 3 were a success. How did you measure the success, and who was involved in the success? Did you also have cooperation with government other than this one carrier? And where's the education in all this? I guess there's a lot of questions.
Well, thank you. First, maybe I didn't express myself correctly. I mentioned that 3 of them were liberated from the drug dealers.
I understood that.
Okay, but that's not a mention of success of the Wikimapa. That's not, of course it's not. Okay, yeah. But the idea is that there's an opportunity now that those areas are peaceful. There is peace there for the first time in the lives of that people. Okay, the opportunity is much bigger than it was before. So the idea is we have to keep on doing this in those areas, especially those liberated ones. And there is now, from now on, we are beginning a relationship with the local government and the state government that is enforcing this security policy, because now they have all sorts of social investments directed towards these areas that are liberated, you see? And the private sector as well is going there. Because before this, it was impossible. The drug dealers wouldn't allow people, government, private sector, to go to these areas. They were totally hostages.
I understand. Thank you.
And I think the great thing is that those areas have free Wi-Fi.
Yes.
So, and even before PNBL.
So are I guess I would understand that the kids were on board. What about the older generation, maybe even people as young as me, in early 50s or whatever? Were they on board as well, or did you get support from different age groups or not?
Yes, because they do use cell phones as well.
Well, yes.
Yes, they do use cell phones. And more than that, parents, relatives, friends, older friends, were very, I would say, happy to this feeling of belonging, of showing their faces and being recognized by their local community, their own community. They say, we have a sticker that says this place was mapped, that you put in the wall of the diner, of the local commerce, the small commerce, the convenience store, something like this, or the school, or the health post.
Thank you. Great work.
I think for a lot of Canadian companies, there's a lot of talented companies that have created games or other types of applications. And the Brazilian market's probably very intriguing, 190 million subscribers. ARPU's a little bit lower. What would you recommend as far as their strategy to enter into the market?
Well, I suggest mobile health applications, mobile learning applications, social networks, like applications that connect with Facebook, etc. I don't know if you heard about Orkut, but Orkut is
and Facebook.
Orkut is the biggest one in Brazil. But because of the scale of Brazil, I suggest projects that use social implications that we can present to the government and try to do partnerships. Because it's still, the output is very low, but I think in 1 or 2 years, they'll become to use more mobile applications.
If I can just complement what Marcelo has just said, I would like to remember that the next decade, from 2010 to 2020, Brazil is going to be hosting an enormous amount of events. We were talking about the World Cup. In 2012, there's going to be Rio +20. Remember 1992, the World Summit on Environment? Now there's going to have Rio plus 20. And 2016, the Olympic Games. So this whole decade is going to be full of mobilizing events. So there's a huge opportunity in this decade, and this has been foreseen by the private sector quite clearly.
And also in mobile government solutions to receive all those events, the World Cup and the Olympics. And
Sure. Get a question?
Hi there. My question is regarding mobile marketing campaigns. We spoke about data usage and mobile apps. What about SMS? Is that a big player in the mobile space in Brazil?
yes, still it's huge. We have Big Brother with a huge validation, and it's an amazing market for SMS still in Brazil. Yeah. I don't have the numbers, but I can send you a PowerPoint with more information. But it's like a Big Brother. We have 25 million votes in one night for SMS.
How popular are the ecosystems like OV and Android market for getting applications or content out there versus working directly with a Claro or someone like that?
They're just beginning. We're just in the beginning.
So it's a good time to...
Yeah, it's just the beginning. That's why we launched the application. We have participants from all over Brazil, from Bahia, from Recife, from Manaus, from Porto Alegre, Salvador. It was incredible, but it's only the beginning. And those companies want to make partnership with companies in Canada, in technological partnerships, to explore the market. So it's only in the beginning.
How are mobile operators trying to increase ARPU? Ron gave some stats earlier in the evening. So is there any particular area that they're focusing on? Is it increased voice usage, messaging, data usage? Just what are some of the things that they're doing in market in that regard?
Now they're trying to ring back tones and still trying to sell ringtones, SMS, massive campaigns of SMS, and for horoscope and things like that. Really simple things, not really sophisticated things. And they start to sell data plans now in Brazil because of the new mobile phones, but it's still it's SMS-based services.
Okay. We have a question?
Yeah, right here. I have a question. So I actually used to live in Sao Paulo. I was there for a couple of years. And I actually never really asked this question, but I'm always curious as to what makes the Brazilian internet consumer so different from the ones here in North America, or most of Europe, I reckon, as well. For example, in adopting Orkut, the Google social networking system, as opposed to Facebook, which has surpassed all pre-existing social networking sites. So I guess it's a little bit about what the Brazil mindset is and how people really go about using the apps, whether on their phones or on their computers, and what makes them so unique. Because I think that the adoption in Brazil has been very different from the adoption patterns we've seen in other parts of the world.
Well, regarding social networks in Brazil, especially Orkut, one of the reasons that it's been booming is an issue regarding mobility, and not about mobile phones, but urban mobility. In our cities, for instance, in São Paulo, it's getting more and more difficult. We're having traffic jams all days. You've been there. You've experienced that, right? So. You fly? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's actually the second or maybe the third city with more, with the first. Thank you. You see, that tells a lot, the growth and why Orkut grew exponentially. Because, it's a way to gather people. I have, for instance, a friend of mine who lives in Berlin, and she was telling me, people are into networks, into social networks, not nowadays, but 4 or 5 years ago, Well, because they don't have cafes. Of course, it's not like this. Of course, we do have cafes, but it's a way to gather people, you know.
And Brazilians love technology, so they stay online like the Canadians. I think it's like many hours a month. Like I think it's the second or third country that.
Yeah, they're definitely early adopters whenever, even if, for instance, we have a huge base of smartphones and even iPhones, I would say, without a data plan, you see, just because. You say, no, I do have one. It used to be, as in the past, oh, I do have a Nike. Now I have a mobile phone, a smartphone. So it's definitely an object of desire. So that's why this line between prosumer, user / citizens, you know, it's blurred, completely blurred.
And I didn't really understand your distinction between prosumer and consumer.
Well, it's because if you ask, for instance, for any kid, tell me about mobile phones, and he will tell you. Oh, this one have a 5-megapixel camera. It's a crappy one, but it works. I can use a pirate copy of Photoshop and then do some retouching, because piracy is huge in Brazil because of economical issues, of course. So you see, it's beyond only consuming. Oh, I have a mobile phone with a mobile camera, or with a camera, a video camera. No. I have a mobile phone with a 5.3 megapixel. Actually, the lenses are really good. So even my friend who has a 12 megapixel mobile phone, but my lenses are better. If you talk with kids, they will tell you, they will describe a mobile phone like this to you, even not having a data plan yet.
Another question?
Yeah, so you just mentioned piracy. You've mentioned crime in Sao Paulo. Somebody else mentioned the expensive, why the iPhone is so expensive and whatever. And I guess I'm just wondering is, like, how is the price of the smartphones and the crime and everything perhaps causing the smartphone adoption maybe not to rise as much, or where would it be if there wasn't these issues? Do people not buy an expensive phone because they're worried about being mugged and having it stolen, or I mean, are these concerns?
No.
No, you can't. I mean, you mentioned piracy, Paulo. You can't pirate hardware, but you can buy it off the back of a truck. Is that happening?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
Sorry, you can buy it from you can buy a phone that has been stolen, perhaps. Is that
like any city in the planet, right?
Yeah. So is that a big way that people are getting phones, or is that
not exactly? Because for instance, if you buy a prepaid SIM card, there is a huge system of labeling you know, as a consumer. You need to use your documents. You need to actually apply your name on a SIM card.
Right.
It's, for instance, in UK, I don't know how it's in Canada, but I do know that in UK it's ridiculous easy, and you definitely not attach. You don't have your attached ID necessarily to a prepaid mobile phone or SIM card in the UK, for instance.
So the desire to have a very expensive smartphone surpasses the financial issues.
Yes, and having a smartphone without a data plan tell you a lot about this, you know.
Brazil is different from India because we have a capitalist market. People want to have good things and buy good things. There's no religion problems, you know.
Cool. Okay, thanks.
Let's talk about just competition in the market right now. So Vivo's acquired by Telefonica, BRT merged with Oi. What impact will that have on the average consumer in market, and how do you think the government will respond to that, say, next year?
I think nothing's going to change so much. It's the same, just the same groups. You know, Portugal Telecom now is buying part of Oi, which is it's a mix of public and private company. It's one initiative from the government to build a huge company, a telecom from the government, but I don't think it's going to change. You know, we are trying to reduce the taxes or to use the money that there was a fund, Funtel, it's a fund that has, I think, $8 billion, so it can be used for develop new infrastructure plans. So I don't think it's going to change.
There's no going back.
No.
And what's been the government attitude to foreign companies going in? Is there issues around shares of ownership, or how do they like to see foreign companies come in and play in market? In the Canadian market, there are foreign ownership rules in terms of companies coming into the market and setting up as mobile operators. So do you have the same type of thing in Brazil?
No.
Totally open market.
Yeah.
Well, the government is always a business associate of you.
Yeah.
With 40% of taxes. You see, every business that you can imagine, from mobile phones to hot dogs.
But with this new
you have a partnership
plan,
with the government.
The government's going to areas where there were no competition and putting the price down. So it will change the market, you see? Because the problem is not the urban areas, but the rural areas where you don't have competition, you have high prices. So the government will go there to put the price a little down.
Great. I think Anthony has a question.
I've heard there is tremendous development talent in Brazil. In fact, a lot of Canadian companies have been hiring people from Brazil, working in the gaming area, mobile gaming area. Can you describe a little bit about that environment in Brazil? Where are the pockets of creativity? Are there lots of early stage companies now? Are they growing? Do they get government support? Do they not? Because that's something I don't think we necessarily know about. That's not what we think about necessarily first, but I've heard it's an interesting community. Can you talk about that?
We established a partnership, for instance, with CETEC. CETEC is the biggest incubator in Latin America, located at University of São Paulo. So they have huge talent there, located there, not only on mobile, but also different areas such as green technology and even other areas. So yes, incubators are starting to, for instance, CETEC has just achieved 10 years. There is also Caesar, which is located in the northeast of Brazil, in Recife, Pernambuco, which is completely focused on mobile and software development. And then we have another incubator in the south, right, Marcelo? At Florianópolis, which is really focused on gaming. So yes, there's a lot of Brazilians being hired and companies being brought abroad.
Any more questions from the audience? I'm just curious about how quickly the market grew. Was there a conscious decision by the government to open it up just for cash reasons, to get money in and taxes, or did they make it as a conscious decision to be a leader in mobile and have the proper infrastructure and people using mobile devices, et cetera, maybe because there's been low penetration of PCs or what have you?
Well, it's always controversial, right? It's because the taxes, as Marcelo mentioned, part of the taxes go to this fund, which is called FUST, right? Which has been claimed by different sectors of society in order to build some infrastructure for quite a while, and it's been untouchable. To tell you the truth, I really don't know.
Yes.
It's a mystery, because at the same time the government announced the PNBL, the National Broadband Plan, and resuscitated a company that it was not officially functioning, which is Telebras, and has created a bubble around its share, its quotes, and now you see it's a blurry situation.
And of course, there's plenty of opportunities because, you know, it will happen a lot of investments in wireless, in broadband, and in mobile. So it's a good opportunity for Canadian companies to look to Brazil and to see partnerships with Brazilian small companies or big companies to bring solutions and alternatives for our market. So we are open to discuss possible synergies and with Brazilian companies and helping you to do business in Brazil and partnerships.
Great. I think we have another question.
So my question is regarding the structure for startups in Brazil. As we see for web apps, the mobile apps in Canada, comparing to the States, there are more opportunities in the States because of the structure, the way it's in the country and how it's funded for the startups, the different programs. Canada is doing very well now as well. And I was wondering in Brazil, is there any program for startups in tech area, in the web, in mobile apps to actually for those talents that you mentioned are in Brazil and they've been hired by other companies to start actually their own business and make that industry to grow faster and get the market going?
Yes, there are some funds, even no refundable investments with 100,000 K, if I'm not wrong. But the thing is, it's not a specific program towards mobile and internet. It's a program on innovation. And of course, mobile and internet and applications are inside this field. So it's common to listen some investors to say, oh, you know, we do have money, but we don't have projects. I've heard sometimes, you know, even from one of the administrator of this governmental fund called PRIMA, P-R-I-M-A. So they open, and it was a fund that initially you have a coaching program alongside, and you have some consultancy alongside with you in order for the project to be successful. But the thing is, in the end of the day, there wasn't enough projects.
Do you think then this market is controlled by like big powers, or those small players, if they want to get into it, they'll be able to have some opportunities to grow in the area? Or you think the investors are mainly looking at big players to invest their money into?
I would say that there are small companies that are growing very fast in Brazil because there is no concurrency. So we don't have a culture of like in Canada, of big grants and with the support of entrepreneurship and incubators, university and market together. So it's more like it's a free market. So if you're fast, you have a good application, a good solution, and you can do something really good in Brazil. I don't know if I answer your question.
We'll have one more question. Gord, you get the last one in.
My best on this one. Just looking at the ARPU and the number of 3G subscribers and the discussion on applications makes me think that, and I think one of the comments you made about the Wi-Fi makes me think a lot of these apps are running over Wi-Fi. Is that correct?
We don't have this lot of apps first because still 80% are prepaid, right? of the users.
Yes.
80% are prepaid. So apps, it's really in the top of the...
So it's not a question that they're not using data. It's on the the wide area net. They're just not using data. Period on these devices.
No. In the top level, they're using data, right? In the prepaid, in the postpaid, right? But in the favelas, for example, when they need to use an application, they use Wi-Fi.
And so you have fairly extensive Wi-Fi networks, or these home Wi-Fi services?
No, specifically in this area, there are free Wi-Fi. Free Wi-Fi, but it's really in certain areas. So I say that the Brazilian consumer has not born yet to consume applications. I think this will start next year.
Okay.
There's not, I mean, you have iPhone users, BlackBerry users that have applications, but the regular consumer doesn't even know that application exists.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, maybe just one final comment from each of you. Just curious what you think 2011 will bring. Any predictions that you have for mobile in Brazil?
As I was mentioning, there's no going back in this. It will just go on and on and on. People enjoy. And it was not a question only of that the government would stimulate or provide more credit or things. People like it. They want, and they are willing to pay. I think that this is, they are willing to pay, and if they cannot pay, they will get debt for this. That's the way we see it in this market. And the Brazilian people are enjoying to have competition, not to have only the monopoly of the service being provided. We are enjoying to choose which operator we are going to use, which device we are going to use, which application we are going to use.
Charlie?
Yeah, I think I can't say any prediction, but as Teresa said, Brazil has this leapfrog in technology. So location is something that's become more usual because of the GPS on mobile phones. So this is one good thing. The people are using Orkut and Facebook on their mobile phone. They start using. So data plans probably going to get cheaper. SMS still grow, and I think if we have a good solutions to use on mobile government in Brazil or in mobile health, it will work well because of the large distance that we have in Brazil. So people need to talk on the phone, need to interact with the government. So I suggest those applications: mobile health, mobile learning, and mobile gov.
Great. Paulo?
Yeah, as Teresa was saying, it definitely is irreversible. I mean, even the national broadband plan, as I said, it's only 1 megabyte. I mean, it's definitely the discussion, not only the discussion, but it's going on. So, and as Teresa was telling, Brazilians are discovering the taste of having the choice of competition. Remember that slide with a 4-chip mobile phone? I mean, that's the Brazilian profile of usage. They discover each promotion which carrier are bringing, and they phone you either with one of the 4. So definitely it passed through that. Wireless, I bet it will be growing more and more and more. To tell you the truth, I was surprised phoning my wife via Skype, and she was able to receive via 3G, because a couple of months ago, it wasn't allowed. So I told her, where are you? Well, I'm driving. I shouldn't say that, but she was driving. And no, it's not possible. Are you sure? Yes. Are you not in the house near the Wi-Fi? No, I'm driving. So I was surprised, you know, so definitely passes through Wi-Fi, in my opinion.
Well, I think Canada needs some quad SIM phones themselves, and maybe a BlackBerry up here as well. So. Thank you to the panel. What we're going to do right now is the draw for the 2 Nokia devices, so I think Chad's going to come up here. Did everyone leave their card in the basket? Any last-minute ones? Okay, we've got a couple. Can't forget Jerry.
Queria tanto ganhar.
All right, so we have the draw for 2.
Mix those up.
You draw.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
First winner.
Carson Koo.
You have to be here to win it.
All right, let's pick somebody else.
No, Carson.
Oh, there you
This is
go.
Carson. Okay, the next winner. Have to be here to win.
Anne-Marie Hure. Hure.
Wow.
There you go.
Just an FYI, Anne-Marie's been coming to our events since June 2006, so she's a veteran, she's a pioneer.
And I have an app to go in that competition.
Excellent.
All right.
See, she's so excited to run off and start developing now, so.
It's okay, I get that all the time.
Great. Thanks very much, Chad. Just a thank you to the panel. So thank you very much, Therese, Marcello, Paulo. I really appreciate the time that you've spent today and certainly educated us a lot in terms of what's going on and what's hot in the Brazilian market. So welcome to Toronto, and we hope you enjoy our hospitality up here for the next few days.
Thank you.
Not as nice weather as down in Brazil, but hope you have a good time. Just as an FYI, the event for November, we have CBC. They'll be presenting for the Mobile Monday community, and they'll be going over a lot of really interesting things that they've been doing over the last couple years and moving forward. And it's good to see a Canadian broadcaster, an institution in this country, becoming really aggressive in the mobile space. So I think everyone will be really interested in hearing about what they have to say. So that's going on for November. And once again, thanks to the panel, and thanks for attending. People can certainly stick around and ask questions of the panel if they'd like, or just network. So thanks very much for coming out this month.
Thank you.